nice and centered. Because if my beard isn't centered, then the people get mad. Ooh, it's kind of sharp. Rolex prices, they're increasing in 2022. What is going on and what does it mean for the consumer base? I guess we got to talk about this. It is 3:01 p.m. Let's get down to business. Alright guys, so it wouldn't be a time teller episode if I didn't just, lay on a thin layer of Rolex hate. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna complain about Rolex today. But first, I do want to show you some of the Rolexes that I own so that you know I'm not just some dude like bagging on this watchmaker, okay? Here's my Rolex President 36mm yellow gold. This is the way that God intended it, okay? Not too gaudy, but still, a bit flashy for most situations. Still a very fun watch to wear and definitely impressive. Definitely a watch that it was just a big deal for me to be able to attain that watch. And then my proper 40mm Submariner 16800 with the date complication and that beautiful custard pip on the bezel. Those are the two watches in regards to like the Rolexes in my collection that get the most questions and comments about. But for my longtime viewers, you'd know I'm actually fortunate enough to have a few other Rolexes in my collection. I have my 2940 Bubbleback for like circa 1940. Very old watch, very vintage, beautiful. I have my Rolex Date 1500, which is one of my favorite watches, my favorite Rolex reference number of all time, 34mm oyster case, but as we all know, oyster cases tend to wear larger than they are on paper. And then I have my 40mm drilled lug polar dial 16570 Explorer 2, red GMT hand. Beautiful, beautiful watch, very functional, and definitely a tough go-to watch of mine. Now, when we isolate my Rolexes from the rest of my watches, you can see, if I do say so myself, it's a pretty well-rounded collection just by itself, right? We have some precious metal in there, we got some complications with the date complications, the day date, we have that GMT complication with the Explorer 2, and we have that really cool quickset hour hand with the Explorer 2. We have a dedicated diver with the Submariner. We, again, have a field watch with the Explorer 2. We have some dressy options with the Date 1500 and the 2940. It's just a well-rounded collection, and I suppose the only thing left would be to add like a Rolex chronograph into the mix, but then that would mean that I'd have to shell out Daytona money, or I'd have to shell out even more for pre-Daytona watches, which is, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But why do I bring this up? Okay, it's not to brag to you guys about the watches that I own. It's because it's no secret that I am a bit of a vintage Rolex fanboy, right? These are older reference numbers, and these are watches that I truly do love. I think Rolex was a heavy hitter way back when. Now, modern day 2022, early 2022, Rolex has increased their prices, and this has gotten the watch community in a tizzy. People are speculating a whole bunch of different things. People are saying that it's going to affect us this way and that way, and I have some opinions about that, and we're going to talk about it. But first, I want you to go ahead and think, do I take things too seriously? Am I a knucklehead? Have I ever been called a sociopath? If that's the case and you love wristwatches, this is the channel for you, so please subscribe if you haven't already. Also, I want you to go ahead and locate that like button, all right? I want you to do a generous deed. I want you to give it an all-you-can-eat coupon to your local candy store, but make sure when the like button gets to the candy store, that coupon is only good towards black licorice. That'll show it. So, okay, Rolex prices going up 2022. Well, I've heard people go as far as to say that this is actually the best thing ever, because that means it's a guaranteed positive ROI on the watches you own, right? You own a Rolex. Now the primary market has increased in value, which means your watches are now worth more. Congratulations. Cha-ching. Cue the cha-ching sound, another cha-ching sound, and then a big oof. Why the oof? Well, because I disagree. In fact, I've been on the forefront, the cutting edge, the tip of the spear, so to speak, of advocating against investing in watches just enjoy the hobby and collect what you want and don't really use it to make money, because unless you want to open up a business, like, you open up a watch store and this and that, investing in watches is a dangerous game, and it doesn't typically work out the way most collectors think, okay? Like with many other investment opportunities, there's no get rich quick. Like there's no minimum amount of money. Like I've heard people say, what's a really sought after valuable watch that's less than $1,000 that I can get in low and then flip it and then get rich? Doesn't really exist. I mean, let's think about this. If a watch is super valuable and sought after, people are gonna know about it, which means it's probably not going to be less than $1,000. So again, much like other investment opportunities, it's going to take money to make money. You're gonna have to do a lot of research and buy a pretty penny worth of watches to then sit on and have patience to have any significant return on investment in the future. So again, guys, probably don't invest in watches. However, when it comes to investing, there is one place I can recommend, and that's today's sponsor, Masterworks. You can invest in blue chip art for the very first time when you sign up with Masterworks using my link. I'll leave it in the description below, masterworks.art/timeteller. With Masterworks, you can purchase shares in great masterpieces from Andy Warhol, Picasso, even Banksy, and more. Now, let me bring this back to wristwatches, okay? Because that's why you're here. If there's one surefire thing that is guaranteed to turn people away from this beautiful hobby we all love, it's this kind of inner circle cool guy group of aficionados that only dare speak in reference numbers, and they turn their nose up at any watch that doesn't cost in the minimum 5 figures. They want to hold themselves in high regard, and they want other people, the laymen, to look at them as this closed-off group that you cannot penetrate. I'm not cool with that, because, baby girl, I'm going to tell you, I always penetrate. It's pretentious, it's not realistic, it's inaccessible to the common man, and it's just plain not fun. But guess what? That's exactly how I felt about the art community before I learned about Masterworks. You see, I don't need to be an art expert. I don't need to have a PhD in art history. I don't need to wear a turtleneck and then a tweed blazer just to sneak into a private art gallery, pretend that I like the wine that I'm smelling, and then, rub shoulders with people that are describing some blotches of paint on the wall just to have the privilege of spending my life savings on that blotch of paint on the wall. With Masterworks, you don't need to do any of that. Okay, I can just log in and find a piece of art I think looks cool and then just hold some shares in it. It's very easy. Here's how it works. You create your account with a crypto wallet or just a regular bank account. You pick major works of art to invest in or their new blue chip art fund. You identify investment amounts, and guys, there's no minimum investment, so it's very, very simple, no pressure. And then boom, you can hold shares in a work from Picasso, or you can trade it on their secondary marketplace. It's very, very interesting, it's fun, it's accessible, and it is like the antithesis of this weird, cool guy, aficionado art dealer space. It's just fun. Okie dokie, so Rolex price increases. There's buzz about this happening every year, people talking. I don't know why, but the second New Year's Eve hits and then the new year rolls around, people are like, I wonder what Rolex is gonna do. It's never good. Never good. Now, according to professionalwatches.com, Rolex increased its retail prices by an average of 3.4% on January 1st, 2022, which is reflected on Rolex.com. That's right, you can go on their website and see it. So what does this look like from model to model? Well, again, with professionalwatches.com, they write, one example of a classic watch increase is the 41mm stainless steel OP, reference number 124300, that went from $5,900 in 2021 to $6,150 in 2022. That's like a 4.2% price increase. They go on to say, as an example of one professional watch model increase, the stainless steel Submariner reference number 124060 went from 8100 in 2021 to 8950 in 2022, a 10.5% price increase. Now, I personally have gotten heated messages from everyone saying, how could Rolex do this? This is proof they don't care about their consumers. They don't care about the collectors. They're only catering to the ultra rich. They're just doing this because this is their last stand, finally showing off their true greed. Now, all those statements very well may be true, right? I'm not here to defend Rolex, but let's look at this like reasonably and realistically. At the end of the day, Rolex is a business, right? I mean, technically they're set up as a foundation, and I'm sure that's very advantageous when it comes to their tax filings every year, but I digress. They have a product that they are trying to sell to make money. And with inflation hitting about 7%, I want to throw up. At least in the US anyway, it's 7%. God damn, I can't even believe I'm saying that. Inflation is 7% in the US right now at the time of filming. I'm going to be sick. But because of this, it's not surprising to see prices increase accordingly, right? I mean, that's how it goes. Like, I'm not an econ major, but this is like, it's obvious, right? It makes sense. So now to move on to the second part of the episode, okay? What does this mean to the consumer base and the collectors? Well, let's go back and touch upon something that we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, okay? I suppose as the primary market increases its prices, those of you who own these Rolex models might see a bit of a positive return on investment if you were to sell them on the secondhand market, right? Now, I'm sure that's gotten some people very happy, and I'm sure that's gotten some people very, very upset that I said that. Yeah, some people might be able to make some money on the secondhand market by selling these watches now that the primary market has gone up. Well, just stay tuned, because I'm gonna say something that's well, it's gonna probably make you a lot more upset. None of this matters. That's right, the Rolex price increases don't matter. You know why they don't matter? Because you can't buy one anyway. Give me an example. Give me any instance. I don't care if it's an anecdote. Oh, my uncle's friend's roommate was able to go to an AD and he found a Rolex at MSRP last year. Sure, I don't believe you. Give me any example of someone after like 2018, being able to go to any Rolex AD and buying a Rolex that they wanted at MSRP without a huge wait list or prior product purchase. You're telling me that that after 2018 you were able to buy the Panda Daytona for $13,750? No. Nope. I'm waiting. In the comment section, seriously, let me know of an example after 2018, because for some reason that changed everything. A switch was hit where you could go into a Rolex AD and find the watch you wanted for MSRP without waitlist, without pre-product purchase. Doesn't happen. So for everyone complaining about this 3.4% average price increase of Rolex MSRP listings, just cool it, because it doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to find one at MSRP anyway, and you haven't been able to since like, I'm going to push it back even, since like 2016. So essentially, until any of these watches become available at all, I don't think the price increases matter. But guys, as always, please leave me a comment, even if you're really angry about this, even if you're just ecstatic because you got into a Rolex right before the prices increased. Leave me a comment and give me some perspective. I would love to hear from you. Start an argument in the comment section, yeah? I don't even care what the argument's about. Just find a comment and argue. Just let it all out. Also, when we're talking about finding things, go ahead and locate that like button, all right? And I want you, again, to give that like button a coupon. All you can eat at your local candy shop, but then please, this is the most important part, make sure that that coupon is only good towards black licorice. And if you enjoy wristwatches, and again, maybe people have accused you in the past of being a sociopath, maybe you've been a little crazy, maybe you've been called a knucklehead, a rapscallion, maybe you don't take anything in life that seriously, subscribe, because we're a bunch of lowlives here, so love to see you. All right, guys, all jokes aside, thanks for hanging out with me. 2022 is going to be a blast. Don't worry about these Rolex price increases because we can't get them anyway. All right, stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to T3 Time to Drive if you enjoy cars. And go ahead, check out thetimetellershop.com. It is the #1 place to find affordable vintage luxury watches without any of these crazy average price increases. And again, we have this amazing Don't Start Watch collecting merch. Don't. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jordan Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember I didn't invent time. I just tell it.